And hello again. And in case you didn't see the other one, so I want to welcome you again to the Shadow Gallery. I am, as always, your host, James Donnelly. Um, if you haven't seen the earlier one, I urge the one that I just put up tonight. I urge you to go ahead and look also at my 10 best artists of 2011, because this segment of the Shadow Gallery will be dealing with the 10 best comic book writers of 2011. Okay, so let's just kick it off. So this was a tough one. There was a tie for number 10. There's going to be 11. Okay, there's just going to be 11. Because there was a tie for number, because I could not take one of these names off in good conscience. So the tie for number 10 is I have Joshua Hale Fialkov. And his highlight for me, it's really a toss-up. Now, this is someone who literally, was like a bolt from the blue just a couple of months ago. Never heard of him before, never read a single issue of anything he's done, and then all of a sudden he had my book of the week, 1 week, with the fourth week, the final week of releases, I believe it was the final week of releases, for the New 52 with I, Vampire, which was just a stunning return of the character of Andrew Bennett, and was, to me, a stunning debut of what I thought was a great new title, and I thought a great new writer and artist team with him and Andreas Sorrentino. But also was Last of the Greats, was the next week. Number 1 of that issue was my book of the week for the next week, and that's fantastic as well. This is somebody who is obviously very knowledgeable, very well versed in comics. He knows how to write. He took a concept that could have easily become like Twilight bullshit in I, Vampire, and turned it into something that was, centuries spanning, this kind of terrible love story, and really frightening imagery. And then he gave us this really high concept piece from Image called Last of the Greats, about the last of these kind of very godlike creatures, and someone who is, and this being is just incredible. It's just an amazing comic. If you haven't read it, please start. And same with I, Vampire. He's going to be doing Doctor Who soon, if I've been reading his tweets correctly. I'm not that into Doctor Who, but I might check it out just for him. And also, my other tie for number 10 is Garth Ennis. For me, the highlight of his work this year was Jennifer Blood. A great new series, a really kind of interesting take, female Punisher, but way, way, way more than that. There's a much more interesting story than just it being a Punisher chick. There's something really cool going on with that character. And of course, it has that kind of perverted, subversive tone that he does like to use very well. And also, not so much for his work from The Boys, which is always pretty solid, but his work specifically on Butcher Baker Candlestick Maker. That miniseries has been phenomenal so far, and I'm dying to read the rest of it. That's been my pick of the week at least once. And Jennifer Blood, I think the first issue might have been my pick of the week. Moving forward, number 9 is Jeff Lemire. Or Jeff Lemire, I don't know how exactly it's pronounced. His highlight to me is Animal Man. Now, I have not read Sweet Tooth. I've never read a single issue, so please don't harass me about that. I hear it's very good. I do plan on catching up to it at some point in the near future, but I've got a lot of stuff to get through. But his work on Animal, bringing the concept of this kind of almost silly superhero, and putting it in a much more strange and wondrous realm was initially handled by Grant Morrison, and I didn't think the character could get any better than that. That was when Grant Morrison was still great to me. And now Jeff Lemire, Jeff took the same concept of this hero and now is putting it into a horror category. And it's a great, stunning horror book. It really is very scary to read. And also, of course, you know, his work on Frankenstein, Agent of Shade has really gotten me hooked. So, I mean, this is, to me, he's a very new talent to me, and it's been a great ride so far. I mean, with Animal Man and Frankenstein, but very much so on Animal Man. It's just great stuff. Number 8, Robert Kirkman. His highlight, The Walking Fucking Dead. Now, again, this year I've gotten a couple of trades. I do not read it week to week because I can only read it in trades. I don't want to catch up and then have to wait from week to week. It's too painful. I did it with Preacher. I'm not doing it again. And his work, again, of course, just fantastic. And with also Invincible. Invincible is great work. I don't read too much of it. I don't care for the Infinite. I'm sorry, Robert. I don't. It's not you. It's Rob Liefeld. It's his art. I respect Rob as a man and as a business person, but I don't like his art. But specifically his work on The Walking Dead is just it's gut wrenching. I mean, it really is. It's the hardest book to read out there, but you can't not love it. Number 7, Brian Michael Bendis. His highlight to me, obviously he does 85 different titles, but his highlight to me is Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Because for him to take on the challenge of bringing Miles Morales into the Ultimate Universe and making him not just a kind of token character, you know, making him half black, half Hispanic, and, you know, and taking that concept and not really, and having who he is play a part of, you know, of his, I should say his background, play a part of who he is, but not have it be the only part of who he is. He's still a very human boy, and, you know, that's what ultimately all human characters should be, whether superhero or not. He's easily relatable. He's a fantastic character, and the work so far is just extraordinarily well written. It's just extremely well done. I also do really like his, you know, some of his work on the Avengers. I do like some of his work on Secret Avengers. I loved Scarlet. Most of that was 2010, though. Some of it bled into 2011, obviously. And also, we had this first issue of Brilliant, and, you know, I'm interested to see how that kind of turns out. Sorry. So again, you know, Bendis, despite all the stuff he does, he's a great creator. He really has an ear for dialogue. Sometimes he overdoes it, but, you know, to me, the stuff that does shine really, really shines. And even the stuff that I don't care for as much is still better than most of the crap that's out there. This is going to go into 2 parts, so be two segments. You know, this one's going to be at least 15 minutes. The other one will probably be shorter. Number 6, Gail Simone. Highlight, Secret Six. May it rest in peace. It's a tragedy to see that comic. It was a tragedy to see that comic book go. I felt kind of like crying when I heard that book was not going to be part of the New 52 relaunch. I'm sure that she fought like hell for it. I don't know why they would have dropped such a great title. It was DC's best team book. Probably the best team book that's out there. Or that was out there. I keep rereading the old issues and just reveling in the glory of how awesome they were. She hasn't quite blown up my skirt as far as the New 52 is concerned yet. That's a big yet, because I'm sure that, you know, the work on Batgirl will really start to amp up things. I mean, number 3 was really a step in the right direction, and I'm hoping that, and I'm thinking, okay, it's just going to keep getting better for me. But as far as Firestorm, I know that she's going to be off that in a couple of issues anyway, so I just didn't want to get attached and then leave. So to me, but you know, Secret Six will always be one of my favorite comics ever. Those, you know, that team of villains, you know, sometimes actually doing the right thing, and of course, you know, the way that they went out in issue 36. What a great finale to that comic. I mean, really top-notch work. You know, some of the best work, really, of a team book that I've ever read. And the level of consistency it had was also tremendous. So, hats off to Gale on that one. Number 4 is Jonathan Hickman. Jonathan Hickman is a man of... He's very much a man of almost 2 different worlds. He exists in this world of comic books with these characters like Fantastic Four and the Ultimates. But he brings with them this element of very high concept. He doesn't make them just to kind of appeal to a more mass audience. He's always aiming for the smartest person, the smartest reader in the audience. And that's what's great about Jonathan Hickman, is that he just kills it. It's like every issue of every comic book, I may be confused some of the time, but then I eventually see the thing that comes to light, and that's really his. To me, that's the moments of his where he really did shine was with his work on Fantastic Four, and also with FF. Ultimate Comics Ultimates is looking great so far. I read the 4th issue today. That was really quite good. But I'm really enjoying his work on FF, and now Fantastic Four coming back. Ultimate Comics Hawkeye, like I said, a little bit of a letdown at the end, but it was still very solidly written. And again, and then a comic like The Red Wing, again, really high concept, but and introducing all of these really very intelligent ideas. And that's what's so cool about Jonathan Hickman, is he's not afraid to throw the smart at you. But it doesn't get it bogged down like Warren Ellis in the kind of inane techno speak. That's for those of you who have been wondering why I have a problem with Warren Ellis, and I think I've said it before, is that not only because he fucked over Astonishing X-Men for me, but also it's too much science. When he's doing science stuff, it's just too much. And it's hard for me to take it after a while. It just becomes exhausting. And it's like, I feel like I'm reading the same thing over and over and over again. And so that's my problem with Warren Ellis, is that he is aiming for the smartest guy, but I think that he's aiming for the guy that's smarter than everybody. Like, there's like 3 people that will get it out there, and the rest of them, fuck them. That's why I feel that Warren Ellis is not the god that he seems to be. Not to me, anyway. If you like him, you can have him. So we're going to be back with 4 through 1. So stay tuned, and we'll come back with part 2. Stay tuned.